Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from SegaCDUniverse.com. So, first and foremost, I'm sick. If I happen to sound or look kind of fucked up, I apologize. I have some weird cold thing going on. My head's a little clogged, my nose is clogged, so hopefully I don't sound like a stewardess. Anyhow, this video is just my reflections and my opinions on Xbox's new, because they seem to be doing this a lot lately, bombshell, news report that they're putting out or whatever, that they are now backtracking and getting rid of their used game, I guess, fee, the used game policy where you can't share the disc with friends more than once, having to log in once a day to verify who you are, and I think they said they were getting rid of the having to install the games onto the console as well, but I don't recall. I think maybe, but I'm not sure. Anyhow, actually, you know what? Let's open up Xbox's, little blurb they put out, or whatever you want to call it. And I'll go from there. Alright. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. No internet connection will be required to play any Xbox One game. Also, avenues for trading, renting, lending, or selling purchase games will remain as they are today with the Xbox 360. You told us how much you loved flexibility and that you love games that are delivered on discs. The ability to lend and share is very important to you. Blah blah blah. I guess that was really it. That and the used games, the DRM. I'm trying to think if there's any other little annotations that they had made. Let's check CNN, because they're good for video game news. So the other thing I read online, which I thought was interesting, was that initially Microsoft would have to have as many servers online, almost, I think it was like an absurd amount to handle all this DRM, where now they can have, I think, a quarter of what they were planning. So things are going to be extremely different in terms of prices for them. It would have been a lot more money, in the beginning, to where they would have, I guess, then charged that to us through the used game fees and stuff. So people were like, well, is it going to be cheaper now? Is it still going to be $4.99? So that was kind of funny. So yeah, they're just saying they have a lot of, they're going to have both physical and digital content. So yeah, that's about it. Oh, there's no family share plan anymore. They stopped that. And you used to be able to log onto a friend's system and play your game through like the cloud, or I don't know, through downloading your thing. It's saying here you can't do that anymore. You need to have the disc. So you're always going to have the disc now. You can't just install it and then, I guess, play it off that. Just like the 360, which I find to be fine. I like that. So I'm going to quote a couple people first that I really enjoy on YouTube. They're friends of mine, and I'm not going to quote them word for word. I just kind of wrote down slightly what they said, or at least how I took it. First off, one of my best, or one of the YouTube channels I love the most, is by this gentleman from Austria. His YouTube name is Jerryon79. I'll put these names down in the links. Put their links down in the description. You see, I told you I'm sick. So he had said, this was previous to him finding out, I guess, about the Xbox One dropping all the DRM policies and all that shit. He said, you know what's funny about the Xbox One? If you look at all the consoles in the past that went with a multimedia console, they all kind of failed. The Sega CD did like those CDGs with like the weird video clips that would like, not the FMV games, those I love, those are awesome. Those are awesome. Not those. The like Colors of Modern Rock discs and stuff, and the encyclopedias and shit. The Colors of Modern Rock was like you put the disc in and you'd see like an image of Jimi Hendrix fly by, and you'd hear like his music, and the thing would, almost like Windows Media Player, where things would move around while music was playing. The CDI was like multimedia based primarily, I think. I think there were some games, but overall there was a lot of games. The 3DO went multimedia. But most of the systems that try to do the multimedia thing and be a console kind of failed. They usually seem to have stuck to being, in general, gaming consoles are gaming consoles first and do other things kind of as like a background, like, oh, here's an extra little bell and whistle. So I thought that was a very good point, because I didn't think of that. I thought it was interesting that he pointed that out. Check him out. His name is, he calls himself the Retro Gambler, because the word gamer and gambler is, I think, synonymous in Austria, so that's why he used the name Gambler instead of Gamer, because obviously everyone's called the Retro Gamer. So that was Jerry on 79. Second was my friend Mark. What's up, Mark? From Graveside Entertainment, who, if you've noticed, I've dropped the name off of my name, not because I'm not affiliated or not doing things with them anymore. It just became kind of a mouthful, and Mark kind of said, you don't got to say it anymore, we're just doing little things here and there, I don't really care, so that's fine. Mark said he will never ever buy into it. He thinks it's foolish for people who saw it initially, felt like they got kicked in the teeth, and now are going to go out and buy it. He feels like, you know, it's in your bedroom or in your living room, excuse me, and that they will or can eventually adopt these policies again. They're removing the policies, I believe, with a one-time initial online login with an update. So who's to say that they won't initiate them again in the future? And he makes a good point. Did we really win the fight? Did the online and internet masses come out in droves and say, fuck this? And then when the pre-orders came up, people said, fuck this, I'll get a PS4 or I'll get nothing. And Microsoft noticed these numbers? Maybe. Or is this just an initial backtracking, and eventually they will say, and now that we got them and we see people are online and using Xbox Live, now let's shove it down their throats. I also, well, yeah, I'll say that for last, that thought. No, fuck it, let me say it. I also think if Microsoft, and people have said this before, this isn't anything new, if Microsoft would have set the precedent, Mark didn't say this, I am, and they would have put this out there and people would have eaten it up anyway. Like, I had friends who didn't care. I had two friends in particular I was kind of surprised about. One more so. He's very, his name's Harley. What's up, Harley? He's very into the whole, or at least I thought, like everyone should be equal type of thing. With everything in life, he's always, you know, seems to say like everyone should be able to attain the same stuff. I personally don't agree. I think but you know, in this case, I agree. In this case, let me backtrack a second. I'm Microsoft. Let me backtrack. I'm not saying not everyone should be able to attain the same stuff. I'm saying not everyone should have things just handed to them. I'm more of I believe hard work ethic is involved, and that, you know, if you work for it, you'll attain it and you'll be proud. That's all I meant. He feels that everyone should just get everything, kind of. So anyway, that's not the point. He might say I'm misquoting him, but he said something like that in the past, I don't remember. Anyway, he said that people who don't have the money, like I said, well, what about low-income people who, you know, maybe they have a slow internet connection or no internet connection. They're here in the States, or what if you're in a suburban area, not suburban, rural area, and they don't have the internet, or they have a really bad internet? What about them? What are they going to do? Just have an expensive brick in their house? And he goes, well, if they can't afford internet, then why would they afford a $500 console? And I understood where he was coming from, but there's always been years down the line where I have even friends who are, I would say, you know, low income, or maybe they don't have much money, they don't make a lot with their job, whatever. Maybe they still live home, and they eventually down the line somehow trade to get the console, a friend gives them one, whatever the case, maybe they get a gift from like a very nice relative, and they're not going to be able to use it. So I mean, I don't know if his idea holds water, but I understand where he's coming from. But I think anyone, no matter the social, economic status or where they live on the map in terms of geography, should be able to play this thing without having to log online. So, and finally, the great, very wise YouTuber Adam Korolec. Thank you for the shout out, by the way, Adam. The other day, that was very, very nice. I started commenting before I realized what you were doing. I was just commenting on what you were saying. I tend to do that. I type while I'm thinking, almost like we're having a conversation, because that's normal. And then you wrote something back, and I was like, he's going to shout me out. So that was funny. I didn't realize that was coming. Adam Korolec said in the past that Sony, he hates Sony. He likes Microsoft better. He's not in love with them, but he likes them better, than Sony. His reasoning, and I never thought of this until he said it, was that Sony jumped into a market years ago that was being ran by, let's say, 3 people, or 3 companies: Sega, Nintendo, and Atari. Now, Atari really wasn't doing well at this point. Back when they bowed out with the Jaguar, Sega obviously left with the Dreamcast, and Nintendo's still going. As for going strong, I don't know, but they're going. So Sony jumped into a fight that they kind of had nothing to do with, purely for a monetary gain. They were not a video game company, obviously. They were some conglomerate that did video camcorders and TVs and discs and Walkmans and all this shit. And then they came in and they said, let's make some money off of this. We could do it better. And the reason they came in case nobody knows this, initially they were supposed to partner with Nintendo to make a Nintendo CD-based system to fight the Sega CD. But then something happened where they got in an argument, and I think something happened with Philips. I don't know how Philips got involved. It was Philips wanted to do it with Nintendo instead, or Nintendo went to Philips behind their back. Something funny happened. So Sony said, fuck you guys, we're going to make our own console and screw all of you. And in turn, they kind of did. Atari dropped off. Sega sadly dropped off. I wish they were still here. They were awesome. Nintendo's not doing nearly as well as it used to. But they brought in a new kind of, they always say the best thing in life in terms of businesses is competition. I don't know about mom and pop shops. I doubt that's true. But in terms of big business, competition is good because it causes people to be on their A game, lower prices, whatever. Sony brought in competition on top of Sega and Nintendo. So anyway, Adam had said that. Then Mark, I went back and I was talking to Mark about that. And he said, yeah, that's true, whatever. But my opinion was Microsoft is also not, or wasn't essentially a video game company. They're still really not. I doubt most of their money is made from video games. So they kind of both fucked over the gaming industry to a degree. They came into a world where they thought they can make money, and they do, and they are. And they screwed Sega, and they screwed Atari, even though Atari wasn't doing well. And they're screwing Nintendo right now with their Wii U. To where if the Wii U was the only thing out, or if it was just Nintendo Wii U and a Sega console, maybe we went for one of them. So it's interesting in all facets, whatever way you look at it. My personal opinions, I know people have been asking, especially you wasting time, and I hope you're not upset with me over my opinions. I feel that, did we win the war? No. But I think this was a really nice shot in the fucking head for Microsoft and for the industry to show them that when a lot of people come together with a common enemy, with something that we know we don't want, or at least the majority of us don't want. There are some people who loved it, who loved the DRM, loved the online stuff, loved the family plan. I mean, there were people on boards I saw that just thought it was great and that we screwed them over now. So, I just think, I hope this sets a precedent. I hope this keeps up. I hope people are this adamant about this in the future. I don't ever want it to go all digital. Sadly, it may. I don't ever want it to go all digital. I don't ever want it to all have to be DRM and through the internet and having to verify and check. As I've said in previous videos, if you're downloading off the internet games, or you're paying to, then have the system check up on you, you're pretty much just renting the titles. I've said this till I've been blue in the face. If you're renting a title, they can eventually stop that service and you can't rent it anymore. The game's not really yours, so you don't own shit. What I'm going to do, personally, is I'm going to wait. I've never really been an early adopter. I'm going to wait until maybe a year, 8 months, 9 months, I don't know, whatever I feel. I'm going to see how it plays out, see who has the better titles, see what they are doing in terms of their hardware and their software, and go from there. I was very disappointed with Microsoft, especially because I had an original Xbox console, I have a 360, I enjoy their online services, which Sony is now going to make you pay for too, play online. So really that's even, where people used to bitch that Xbox or Microsoft makes you pay to play on Xbox Live. Sony's doing the same thing with PlayStation Plus now, so you can't use that argument anymore. Hopefully Sony's service will get better online, even though I find it to be good online with my Vita anyhow. So that's it. I'm going to wait. I'm going to sit back, put my legs up, play my Sega CD, play my Sega Saturn, which I'm loving. I'm having a good time with the Sega Saturn. And wait and say, okay, let's see what they do. Is Microsoft going to put their foot in their mouth and go back again on what they said? Or are they going to stay with what they're doing? I don't know. But whoever has the better titles and doesn't seem to be as invasive or invasive at all, that I find interesting, maybe I'll get it eventually. But again, I'm not really an early adopter. So that's my 2 cents. Like I said, I was disappointed in Microsoft. But for everyone to come out and say, oh, well, Sony was the great white hope. They came out and they fucking, Great White Hope. That's a movie, right? I hope I'm not being, like, non-PC there, but you get what I'm saying. I hope they didn't, that people didn't come out and say, well, Sony's the greatest thing now because they're not doing this. All they did was react to Microsoft's actions. Microsoft did a really fucking stupid thing, and Sony came out and said, well, you know what? If we don't do this, we will really make a lot more money, and people will be happier. So that's all they did. Like I said, if Microsoft would have came out and did this and it would have went over, you could bet that Sony would have came out and did the same thing, either soonish or next console after the Sony PS4. So that's it, guys. I rambled on for 16 minutes. Please check out Jerry on 79, Adam Korolec, and Mark from GraveSideEntertainment.com. I hope all is well. I'm leaving for Vegas this weekend. Please don't rob my house. And I'm going to take some video footage and compare the Luxor Hotel to Double Switch, the Edward Arms and all that shit. If you didn't play Double Switch, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. Thanks, guys, for watching. It's Vampire Mike from SegaCDUniverse.com. Be good.